So do you want to homeschool with less stress and more freedom? If so, then this video is just for you. If you're new here, I'm Xuan, and I am a mindful living coach and homeschool mentor. And I used to be a middle school history teacher, and now I homeschool my 3 kids, which are 13, almost 9, and 6. And today I want to share with you 13 homeschool secrets that I wish I knew when I first started homeschooling to make my life so much easier and so much less stressful. So let's get to it. So number 1, homeschooling does not need to look like traditional school. You don't need to have desks. You don't need to have curriculum. You don't need to have a whiteboard or a chalkboard. You don't need to recreate traditional schools, because traditional schools are created to educate the masses. And so there needs to be a lot of standardization and conformity and discipline in order to educate a large group of kids. And when it comes to homeschooling, I mean, unless you have like 20, 30 kids, I'm assuming you don't, you're just schooling like a handful of kids, and that's just like totally a different scenario there on how to homeschool your kids. So you don't need to recreate traditional schools. You can do things your way. You can homeschool in bed. You can homeschool on the couch. You can homeschool outside. I mean, I've come across homeschoolers, like they were homeschooling in a tree in the middle of like an open space area right next to the train tracks. So you can homeschool wherever you want and however you want. You do not need to mimic traditional schools. Secret number 2 is to focus on connection and not the curriculum. What matters when you're homeschooling is your relationship with your kids. It doesn't matter what the curriculum is, how much work they're doing, blah, blah, blah. That does not matter. Okay, if you do not have a good relationship with your kids, a good connection with them, it doesn't matter what curriculum you use or what methodology you use, they're not going to have a good homeschooling experience, and they're going to hate it. So we have like a homeschool friend. He was telling me a story about how he went to an art class and he did not enjoy it because the whole time, there's another student there, the whole time she was there, all she was doing was complaining about how she hated homeschooling and that her mom is forcing her to be homeschooled. And she asked not to be homeschooled again this year, but her mom said no. And I mean, how much learning is that kid going to get? How are they going to love learning? How are they going to love homeschooling? What kind of relationship do they have with their parent if they're forced to homeschool? Like, if your kid does not have buy-in, like, your homeschool is not going to be good. Your homeschool experience is not going to be good at all. The next secret is that you don't have to do it all. You don't have to teach all the subjects. And you don't. Like, someone asked me, like, how do you have time to teach all like 6, 7 subjects in a day? I'm like, I don't. Like, you don't need to do that either. Like, who says that you have to? Like, is there like a law book that says that you have to teach all 6 subjects in one day? I don't think so. I don't think there is. I mean, I know there a lot of states have requirements, but that is not a requirement. You don't need to do that. And on top of that, you yourself don't need to teach all the subjects. You can have my phone. You can have other people teach. So maybe you join a co-op, and so then you don't have to teach all this. Your kid can learn history from someone else or science from someone else. Or maybe you put your kid in a science class. I mean, nowadays we have there's like so many opportunities out there nowadays. I know it's overwhelming, but so many opportunities where you can put your kid in a science class or in a math class in person. And it's all like for homeschoolers. It's like small classes, maybe like 5, 10 kids, and they're all learning from one person that's not you. I mean, how great is that? I put my kids in art classes. I love art, but I don't like teaching it. So they get that from somewhere else. And when my oldest son is old enough, he's going to be taking a science class with a former science teacher. Also, math. Like, I plan on having my son do Mr. D math. And so I don't have to teach it because I don't want to teach math, because math is not my thing. Reading, writing, history, love it. I'll be happy to teach it. And if you can't afford, or you don't have like classes that your kids can take, you can always get kits. Like there's history kits out there, like History Unboxed. There's science kits out there, like Science Unlocked or Generation Genius or Crunch Labs. There or Mel Science. There's like so many science kits. There's like too many, I think. There's also cooking kits out there, like Radish Kids, and what's another, art kits, and there's Dungeon and Dragon kits. And there's like so many different kits that you can get. Like we have a mystery kit that we like to get, but I know there's also, my friend just got for her kids, it's a subscription kit for escape rooms, like your own little mini escape rooms, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, you don't have to do it all yourself. So don't stress yourself out trying to do it all. So the fourth secret is to move at your child's pace. Not the pace of a curriculum or where you think they should be in 6 months from now, but move at your kids' pace, because maybe they struggle with math. Like my oldest son, he struggles with math. So he's not at grade level right now, but that's okay. We're working at his level so that he feels confident and that he can progressively learn and be better at math. But I feel like there's a lot of people out there that plan out the school year and their kids have to hit all these marks. And if they don't, then they still keep moving on because they got to stick to the plan. And it's like, no, go at your kid's pace. It's okay. It's okay if you don't go according to plan. That's why when I plan out our homeschool, it's very vague. It's like I just list out the subjects that we'll cover, but not like the details. Like I don't know what my kids are going to be doing the next day because it depends on what they did the day before, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to plan out what they're going to do for math for the next 3 months when I don't even know what they're going to actually get done. Like maybe there's like going to be a problem that they get stuck on, or maybe like in history, like we really dive deep. Like October is coming, so we're going to be studying about the Salem witch trials. And so what if we, get stuck there longer than a month? And that's okay, because my kids are really into it. They don't have to learn it all. And also, that's what makes learning fun, is when you get to learn, when kids get to learn what they are really into. Just go at your kids' pace. It's what's best for them. Next is that learning happens everywhere. And I know there's some people out there like, oh, that's just parenting. That's not homeschooling. Well, like homeschooling is more than just academics. Homeschooling is like a whole lifestyle. It's everything. It's parenting and academics and life skills and just everything all in one. And that's the beauty of homeschooling, is that it is, very fluid and incorporates, very holistic, I should say. It incorporates our multifaceted lives. It's not just academics and that's it. That is not just homeschooling, okay? I know there are people out there that believe this, that there's like this delineation, am I saying it right? There's a delineation between homeschooling and parenting or life skills or whatever. And it's like, no, not really. Not when it comes to homeschooling. It's not. I don't think it is, because the homeschooling is interweaved throughout our daily life. My kids are learning, when we're cooking or we're going grocery shopping, when we're outdoors doing whatever we're doing, hiking, when we're exploring, going traveling, when we're just doing mundane things like taking out the trash or washing the car. Learning is happening all the time. And I think that's the thing that people need to wrap their heads around, is that learning happens all the time. It doesn't need to take place in the school. It doesn't need to be during homeschool hours. It doesn't need to be, it's just constantly happening. And once we embrace that, then we can fully embrace the homeschool lifestyle. The next secret is that it's okay to ditch the curriculum. If you, end up buying a curriculum that everyone around you loves, and then you use it with your kids and you realize it's like a total dud, like you don't like it, or your kids aren't into it, it's okay to ditch it. I know you spent money on it, that whole cost fallacy thing. Like, it's okay to ditch it. It's okay. You can resell it. You can pass it on to another homeschooler. You can donate it. It's okay. Make better choices. Get samples if you need. Borrow someone else's that may be already using it, or just don't use a curriculum. And it's okay not to use a curriculum too. It's okay to switch a curriculum. It's okay to not use a curriculum. You don't want to power through it, grit your teeth and just get through it and get it done just for the sake of sticking to something when it's not working. If your kids hate it, how are they learning? If you hate using it to teach, you're probably not going to use it to teach. So what's the point? Just get rid of the frickin' curriculum and find something that you like. But then don't go fall in the trap of finding the perfect curriculum, because there's no such thing as perfect. And you will never find the perfect one. There will always be issues with whatever curriculum that you decide to use. Secret number 7, I think it's 7, is to take breaks. Take breaks when you need it. They can be short breaks, like throughout the day. They can be longer breaks throughout the year. Or maybe you need to take a break from homeschooling itself and put your kids back into traditional schools for a bit, and then later on pull them out and start homeschooling again. Whatever breaks that you and your kids need, take them. Because the last thing you want is to burn out. And burnout is not, it's not fun. It like affects you both physically and mentally and emotionally. You want to avoid burnout. So take those breaks so that you can reset, your kids can reset. Like we take breaks, lots of breaks throughout the day. Oops, sorry. We do have, like during the weekday, we don't always homeschool every day during the week. Sometimes our homeschool will happen on the weekends instead. It just depends on our schedule and what we have going on, how we're feeling as well. That's a big issue. And then we also like take a break every I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks, just so that I can regroup. And, if we're doing like unit studies of some sort, like a history unit, I'll have time to actually not plan, but think about it, like all the different things that we could possibly do, little rabbit holes that we can go down. So yeah, it's just take breaks. They're good for you. And we learn better when we take breaks, not when we just do. I'm reading this book called Stolen Focus. It's kind of similar if you read Learning How to Learn. Like your brain needs to rest in order to make connections and to, solidify the pathways of new learning. And so you need rest. Your kids need rest. You can't just keep going. Your brain needs rest. And in order to be creative too, and to think outside the box, your brain needs to rest. Take breaks. Go out in nature. Go on a vacation. Just sit around and do nothing. And yeah, I hear you. Like sometimes we take breaks and we turn on the TV or we flip open our phone or our tablets or whatever, but those aren't really breaks because we're still consuming information, right? So take breaks where you just kind of zone out. It's okay if your kids are bored. The next secret is that your mindset matters. Your mindset matters. If you are stressed out or worried or irritated or frustrated when you're homeschooling your kids, then they're going to feel the same thing. They're going to absorb that energy. So your mindset matters. So if you want to have a less stressful homeschool, then you need to change your mindset. And I know that's challenging for some people because maybe you've had this fixed mindset your entire life. And so in order to have a growth mindset, there's a lot of work that you need to do. So that's where I invite you to come join me this fall. I do have a handful of openings with my one-on-one mindful living coaching. And I also have, I think, one opening left for my homeschool mentoring. So if you need help shifting your mindset, I am here for you for that. So I'll have a link down below. Next is that you don't have to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. You don't have to be the perfect homeschool parent. You don't have to provide your kids with this ideal homeschool life that you see on Instagram. And we all know Instagram is just a highlight reel, or it's just whatever someone curated just for you. It's not real life. That's another mindset shift that we have to embrace, is that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to provide a perfect homeschool life for your kids. You don't have to do everything right. It's okay if you make mistakes. It's okay if you try something in your homeschool and you realize it doesn't work. It's okay if sometimes you get super irritated with your kids and you yell at them. It's okay. All those things are okay. You're fine. You're fine how you are. Next is to foster independence with your kids. Let them take ownership of their learning. Let them learn how to educate themselves, basically. When you do that, it just makes it so much easier. Rather than forcing your kids to do something, instead they're choosing to do something. Like, let them choose what they can read rather than you choosing what they should read. Like, who says they have to read the classics? Let them make a choice. It's okay. They're going to be okay, because eventually they're going to need to learn how to make their own choices, because eventually they're going to become independent adults making their own choices. And hopefully you've instilled the right values into them where they will make those good choices. But sometimes they're not going to make good choices. And that's okay too, because we learn from our poor choices. We learn from our mistakes. And we have to allow our kids to learn from their mistakes. So give them the independence that they deserve. I think my battery's going to run out soon, so I need to finish this. Okay, next is that socialization happens naturally. Your kids don't need to go to school to be socialized. They can be socialized wherever they go because there's people everywhere. So they're socializing. Socialize at the store, socialize at the park, socialize in an art class, socialize when you're horseback riding, socialize in your history class, just socialize in your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class. Like there's just different places you can socialize, and there's socialize with your family, socialize with the neighborhood kids. And I feel like homeschooling provides additional ways to socialize. My kids are always, like most of their classes are multi-age. So they're not just with kids that are only in first grade, right? Like my daughter's horseback riding class. It's anywhere from first grade to sixth grade. And then they have junior writers that help out. So those are like middle schoolers and high schoolers, I think, or just middle schoolers. I don't know. But, you know, it's like a really big age range. And that's a great way to socialize because that's like real life. Because in real life, you're not just going to have friends that are only your age. Like I have friends that are younger than me, and I have friends that are older than me, and I have friends that are my age. And so I have a wide variety of friends. And that's just real life, right? So I hope my kids learn how to socialize with a wide variety of people. And secret number 12, there's a lot of secrets, I get it. Secret number 12 is that you're going to have seasons of slow learning. So like usually at the beginning of the school year, it's like, bam, I'm gonna do all the things. And it's a lot, but then the holiday season comes and it causes us to kind of slow down because we're busy doing other things. And then usually like winter time, I feel, even though we don't have real winters here in Southern California, but it still happens where we just kind of slow down a bit and we're not doing as much as we did earlier. And then towards the end of the school year, it's kind of like another, you know, sprint to the finish. And so you're going to have periods of ebb and flow in your homeschool where you're doing a lot and then other times where you're not doing so much, and that's okay. That's the beauty of homeschooling, is that we get to move at our own pace. We get to set the tone. We get to move at our own pace. We get to have a flexible schedule. I would embrace the seasons of slow learning because I think that is the best, when you can slow down and really focus on like a few core subjects or topics and just really dive deep. A lot of learning happens there, more so than when you're just doing all the things. And then finally, it's to embrace your intuition. You know what is best for your kids. You know your kids better than anyone else. You just embrace it. Like, you know when something's not right. You can just feel it in your gut, and you just need to embrace that. But if you're coming from a state of anxiety or fear, then your intuition isn't going to be the most accurate. You need to be coming from a solid place in order to access your intuition. When you are in that solid place, trust your intuition. It knows exactly what you need to do. You don't need to follow anyone's advice. You don't need to follow my advice or anyone else's online. You just trust yourself and you'll do what's best for your kids. So I hope you found value in this video. And if you did, make sure you hit that like button and leave a comment down below and let me know what are your secrets to homeschooling. And again, if you're interested in working with me, I'll leave links down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. All right. I filmed way too much today. I'm so tired. I did 3 videos. I don't think I'll do 3 again in one day. That is too much. And then also, I want to do more vlogs. Like, I'm not really a fan of these talking head videos. I find them kind of boring. I mean, I don't really like to watch talking head videos. I like to watch vlogs, but then I don't know. Are you into vlogs? Is that your thing? Or do you just not really care? You're just here for the information and then you bounce and leave. I like vlogs. They're just so much more personal, you know? It's like nowadays with like AI and everything, like it's easy to get information. It's not so easy to get that human connection. You know what I mean? That emotional connection. And that's what I crave when I'm online, is the emotional connection. I don't really crave the information anymore because it's so easy to get the information. But I do crave the human interaction and getting to know people. And so, yeah, let me know if you're into vlogs. I would love to know.